Hey Orchard, Pastor Daniel here. Just want to give you an update. I know a lot of you have been wondering what's going to happen in the coming weeks and months with the Orchard services, and I just want to let you know we are talking to all the right people. We're having the conversations we need to have. We don't want to make a decision out of worry. We will make a decision out of wisdom. And so we are having those conversations, and as a leadership team, investigating all those things, and there'll be more updates to come. One more thing I want to talk to you about today is called the Principle of Marination. Now, we all know what marinating is. You put a piece of steak in a marination sauce, and what happens? Well, it takes on the flavor of what it's soaking in. And this is also true of our hearts and our minds. I want you to know something, that did you know, as you soak your heart and mind in something, your life takes on its flavor. And so if I find in my life that I am consistently meditating, consuming, and marinating on the worry of the speculations of what could happen and the panic, then I will soon take on the flavor of worry. And when I encounter other people, guess what? I'm going to pass that worry on to them. You take on the flavor of what you marinate in. The same is true for God's peace. If I marinate my heart and my mind in the presence and the peace of God, then my life begins to take on a divine flavor. And when I encounter people, I can pass on His peace. So, whatever you are soaking in, you'll take on the flavor of. And what that means for us today is we can actually choose what we marinate our minds in. If you find that you are just consistently marinating and meditating and taking in worry more and more and more, and inside it's what if and what if, then you can know that that's going to affect and flavor your inner feelings and dialogue. And so you can choose. One thing to choose today is Philippians 4, 6 through 8 is a great place to start. If I were you, I would memorize this one. This is a great place to root your heart and your mind deep in God's peace. And it says this. It says, do not be anxious about anything. Anything. But in everything, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And what that means is don't be anxious about things. Instead, go to God in prayer. Thank Him for what you do have and ask Him for what you need. And if you do that, check out verse 7. The peace of Christ, which transcends all understanding. Now, the peace of Christ that transcends, that is high above, listen, it's high above the worry of our culture. It's high above the panic of pandemic. The peace of Christ transcends all understanding, all things. And so the peace of Christ, which transcends all understanding, what will it do? It says it will guard your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. Now, how would you like that? For your heart and your mind to be guarded by the peace of Christ, that when worry comes knocking, God's peace answers the door. And then in verse 8, it gives us the recipe or the secret sauce for this marinade. This is what we should be thinking on. He says this, finally, sisters, brothers, listen, if something is true, if it's noble, if it's right, if it's pure or good or lovely or admirable, if it's excellent and praiseworthy, think on these things. In other words, that's your secret sauce. That's your marinade for what you're going to be soaking in and taking on the flavor of things that are true and pure and good and admirable. Those are the things of God. And so the more you root yourself in the truth of God, the more you take on the flavor of God's peace, and the more you are unshakable by anything the world can throw at you. So Orchard, I want to encourage you to get into Philippians 4, 6 through 8 today. I want to encourage you to be careful about what you are focusing, meditating, and marinating on. You get to choose. I would root my heart and my mind deep in the truth of Christ. Orchard, I love you. Leadership team, staff, elders, we are praying for our church, for our nation, for our world. And so be praying as well. Be praying that God would do what only God can do. I'll see you soon. Thanks.